recording started. And again and again, actually, the evidence we are human art that I promised already 10 shows that I will be doing something with this welcome and this white snowman hand that I will put music, and I never done. You see, it's our human being. I don't know. Usually, actually, I'm even claiming that I'm keeping my promise every time when I'm starting new shows. Like, Valeria, you have to invest a little bit time with this snowman. It's so boring. It's so, but yeah, it's so funny. No, I found
Yeah, but
reasons not to do
you're
it.
speaking over you're speaking over it. So like that's your song. That's if you just start talking while the
Yeah.
hand is playing, like that's your song. That's okay. That works.
That's why I think that I'm so even authentic and real to show everybody, people. You see, I don't know what procrastination is, but here, what is laziness? Or it's like, it's not interesting, just a hand. Maybe I will do it later. Or I find nice coach and mentor to find very nice music. That Valeria, you should have this music. But every time I start talking, but people actually believe it's very funny.
That's right. But if you never told anybody that you were going to put music, they wouldn't know any different. And then music just shows up all of a sudden, but you're telling everybody. So that's very authentic.
Cool. That's why I'm actually showing immediately. You see, I'm not perfect at all. Like this world, like all of us, like our brains, like our fingertips, DNA, everything. This is the beauty, right? This is the beauty of the world. Okay. Welcome to Diversity is the Game Changer. Welcome to our show. I'm so privileged and honored to host you today, finally to see you and my beautiful audience. You should know that actually me and Joseph, we have been discussing a lot of very deep subject already, just in the written form. And it was really sad and deep moments for me during Christmas times. And actually, you're my little angel. You were sent at the right days with the right words for me. So actually, I'm very grateful to you that you are already taking a big place in my heart and in my life.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me to do this. And yeah, thanks for the lovely conversation that we've had, even leading up to this. That the show aside, outside of the show, the conversations itself, those are what make it worth it. The human connection, it makes it worth it.
Exactly, because I do remember, especially it was one evening or maybe night time, because I have time difference, and I felt. Remember, I told you that today I'm like suffering a little bit with my mood. I'm stressed. I don't feel really self-worthy. A lot of really helped me out of this, and it was very very special. Also, change not just mood, but not just state, but stage, which gave a lot of inspiration. Thank you so much. I'm still have a little bit echo. Maybe can you try to see it a little bit? Like I don't know why. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes maybe it's from my side. But anyway, welcome to the show, the podcast where we explore how diverse thoughts, lived experience, and neurodiversity shape not only pride, but also authentic leadership and inner freedom. And today, like I said, why it's so much echo? Can you hear me? Actually, then
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you without an echo, so I'm not sure.
No.
Let me see.
But if I sit like this, okay, even more echo. Wow.
I'm not sure what it is.
I don't know. Maybe now it's better. Now it's nothing.
Nothing?
Okay, Echo, where are you? I want you. We understand you are probably a lady and you want to join us today. Maybe Echo lady is boring. She really wants to join also the show. Now she's not here. Now she's embarrassed. Let's catch the moment when she's not here. So,
yeah.
Today's guest is truly fascinating thinker and human being. And actually, you see, even the technical stuff is so cool for being real, like authentic. We live in real world and everything can happen. That's why I want you, everybody who will be actually watching and listen us today, please, if you actually have idea one day to start your own podcast, just do it. Just jump it. Don't wait. It should be perfect. Nothing should be perfect. Everybody should be real. And when you want to do it, it's the right energy. This is the right time, right? Joseph.
Yes.
I even forgot, because you're my friend now solo, so I even forgot to introduce actually your name. So yes, I was about. So Joseph Pennell is a former U.S. Air Force intelligence analyst and a behavioral strategy thinker who dared to ask a question most people never stop to examine. Why do so many people manage to change their habits yet still feel disconnected from themselves afterwards? So please welcome to our show, Joseph.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love being here. I love having the conversation. I love going through the technical difficulties and all the difficulties and just showing the human side of everything because we are not perfect no matter how much we try to look perfect, sound perfect, dress perfect, act perfect. It's never going to be perfect and I think we should own that. It's beautiful. Life should be beautiful even if it doesn't seem like it always.
Amazing. Because one of my mottos, it's actually imperfectly perfect or perfectly imperfect. And I know, you know what? Because sometimes I'm actually kind of forgetting that I'm just facilitator and host, and I should give more stage and words to my guests, actually. So I do believe now Echo, she's kind of my producer or, like vice president here, sitting here, like showing, like, Valeria, stop talking, it's not you, because when you're talking, Joseph, it's not echo. When I'm talking, it's echo. So echo is actually watching that I should not have all this like words from Tana all the time. But I'm actually, when I feel energy, it's so great energy immediately with my guest, I like bubbling of the energy, and then actually these bubbles like also like okay, but it's we are like now talking, we're imperfectly perfect. So that's me, that's how I host my show. Okay,
Yeah.
so a
Good.
little bit
Love it.
introduction about you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you started off right. Yeah, I'm a former intelligence analyst. I mean, that's my adult life, right? So I grew up as an athlete doing very masculine things, and I grew up in a household that was a little bit, I wouldn't say it was dysfunctional, but divorced several times. My brother passed away when I was in high school, and I was trying to learn how to navigate all of these things. And my life took a downward turn when I went from high school to college and I had to live on my own, be by myself, and I didn't have sports. And sports for me was just a symbol of something to do to keep me preoccupied because I love competing. I love the sport of basketball, and it was something that kept my brain occupied. It kept me moving, and what I used it for as I was getting older was to not think about the pain. So when I left high school, went to college, that's when I really started to struggle. That's when I really started to attempt to deal with the pain. And the problem with that was I had no idea what to do. I had no idea what to do. And so I didn't actually deal with anything. So I grew up and I realized that I needed structure. So I joined the military. I attempted to do jobs that I thought I would use my brain and feel useful. I didn't think I was living a life that I was proud of. So if I was able to give back and join the military and do something that I thought was important, I didn't know how important it would be. I thought if I did something that I was going to use my brain, I would feel valuable. And it did. It made me feel those things. Structure was very good for me, but it didn't solve what was happening on the inside. And so I became an intelligence analyst, and then I was married for a good majority of my military career. I got divorced about 2.5, 3 years, about 3 years ago now. I got divorced. And at that point, I spiraled mentally. I spiraled emotionally. I was drinking a lot. I was not caring about myself. I gained weight, which isn't a horrible thing, but it was a visual representation of the downward spiral for me. I loved being in shape. I loved being active. And so that was sort of the last step. So I'm a person to sort of tie it all back together as who I am. I'm a person who's a deep thinker, who's very introspective, who tries to figure out the missing pieces. And the good part about that is it brought me to the space that I'm in today. The bad part was it kept me stuck because I was trying to figure out a problem in my life that I didn't have the answer to. And I wasn't going to be able to find the answer by reading it in a book.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, this whole idea of growth and living authentically and is was a stepping stone, or the stages in my life led me to this point where I had to really look at myself and say, are you doing these things? Are you living a life that truly is authentic? Are you just saying that you want to? Or are you taking the necessary steps? And I had to be very, very honest with myself. I had a lot of good things on paper that I
Mm-hmm.
could say, hey, look, this is me. This is me. And people could read it and say, oh wow, you seem like an interesting guy. You're a good guy. Oh, you volunteer, you do these things. But I wasn't living the life that was on paper. I was destroying myself slowly. So I
Mm.
had to take the person that I was, bridge the gap between the person that I want to be, and end up somewhere in the middle and realize I'm not going to be perfect throughout this entire process.
Wow, amazing. What an inspirational and very strong story. And I do love the idea that you immediately, actually, manually took the um, driving wheel and start presenting yourself. Because when actually I pronounced a little bit introduction about yourself, so actually it was 1 second pause when I wanted to start read and introduce you, but you took over. It's perfect. It's amazing because actually it's how we interact, and I do love that so much because sometimes, like I said, I'm talking too much, right? But for people, it's much more valuable to know your story. But now I actually can align what you've been said, what I have prepared. So I just summarize a little bit with already like some gems that you already has brilliantly underlined. So Joseph, through his own journey of recovery and deep identity rebuilding, Joseph uncovered a critical gap, like you already mentioned. You see, we are so aligned in most self-help, performance, and recovery models. So while many systems focus on discipline, willpower, and stopping behaviors, they often overlook sometimes essential parts, like you have said, the emotional safety, self-trust, and identity required to feel whole again. Because everything, like you exactly mentioned, it can be one paper, and even kind of when we see some just outside on the mirror, how we look in society for people, but what happened inside, it's totally disconnected, and then it's not holistic picture. That's why this let's read the next 24. Title of our podcast was 24. It's a
Yes.
transformational platform designed to help individuals rebuild emotional literacy, ground self-trust, and identify from the inside out. So it perfect to have started already with childhood, because it was my first question. You already, I understand you have, uh, like we all been shaped a lot of what's going on, and it was quite a lot of also pain experience in your childhood. It's the same as mine. Everything what has impacted you. So how do you believe emotional part actually continue to influence us as adults, our adult behavior and self, even after like papers? How actually
Can you say
everything.
that? Can you say that one more time? You were breaking up a little bit.
Okay. How do you think our childhood and our emotional patterns, which we had in childhood, how they still influence our adult behavior? How do you think, even still on paper, it's perfect, but inside, what do you think between childhood and who we are? How is it?
Yeah, that's a great question. what we learn in childhood, and everybody learns a different lesson. Everybody learns from different people in their childhood, and some people learn just visually. It's not always what they're told. I had to look at my parents and realize, like, my mother's deaf, she had her own struggles. My father dealt with addiction, he had his own struggles.
Mhm.
They're coming into a marriage and into parenthood with their own set of skills and their own problems that they now have to navigate their world together, and then now their world with myself and my brother when he was alive. So you're learning lessons from people that have their own good and their own bad. And so you visually see what they do, you hear what they say, and you take that information and you formulate your own viewpoint of what the world is.
Mhm.
And what you see in the world might be different than what you're being told. So you always have these competing thoughts and emotions from when you grow up, or excuse me, when you're a child to when you grow up, and you have to figure out what's right and what's wrong, and what feels right and wrong for you. And did my parents tell me something that they believe but I don't necessarily believe, and do I feel differently about that information as you get older? And because you spend a majority of your life away from those lessons, you learn them when you're a child, but as you get into adulthood, the longer you go, you spend a majority of that life away from those lessons.
Mhm.
But those lessons instill your beliefs, and then your belief systems they influence your behavior, and then your behavior, and this is what I preach a lot, your behavior influences your identity. And
Mhm.
so you have an identity of when you're a child, and then you take that same identity and you jump into the world, and based off of what you believe about the world, you're either going to get information back that says, "Oh, this is much different than what I expected," or "This is exactly what I expected, and I can react accordingly." So you take these emotions as a child, and you take these belief systems, and then you go into the world, and if it's so much different than what you anticipated, if maybe you weren't prepared or you were prepared differently from your childhood, your emotions are going to fluctuate based off of what you expect. It's
Mhm.
like if you it's like if you tell somebody you're in a relationship with, "Oh, I did this great thing," and you're hoping they're going to be proud of you, and they turn to you and say, "That's what you should be doing. That's not special." You're going to be crushed
Yeah.
because I anticipated something was going to happen, and it didn't. And now I don't know what to do with that information. I
Mhm.
was so proud of this thing that I showed you. I put everything into it and you thought it was nothing.
Mhm.
Now I'm crushed because does that mean what I believe to be important is not important? Or does that mean that you don't think or believe in the same things as I do? So I either have to change my view on your response, I have to change my view on you, or I have to change my beliefs about me.
Mhm.
And some people, that's a hard thing to do. So your emotions can carry with you, and based off of how you grew up and what you see, you could your emotions can spiral based off of where you put yourself in the world and your beliefs about yourself. Your self-worth is everything.
Mhm.
um, you could put yourself in very dangerous or uncomfortable surroundings. And if you have high self worth,
Mhm.
you will figure it out. You'll
Mhm.
figure it out somehow. But if you don't, you're going to respond to the world as if you're being attacked, and everything, you're not cut out for this life. And your emotions are going to spiral as a result of that. So you can always change. But what the skills you come into adulthood with are will determine how tough it is for you to change later on in life.
Mhm. Yes. Thank you. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank you.
Very nice reflection. Do you remember, was a special occasion point when actually you decided now it's time to change my behavior? Now it's time to um, really work with myself. Because I do believe in the adversity of everybody suffer from low self-worth. And from that point, can you give some people, maybe especially young people, some practical advices you have done, and I'm sure you still do, when they should find themselves really self-worth? And you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so there are some things that are universal and some things that are very unique to an individual. And I would say that when I hit rock bottom, and I had a conversation with somebody about the differences in rock bottom. And a rock bottom for one person could be they struggle so much. Maybe they get arrested. Maybe they get into an altercation with their spouse. Maybe they end up in the hospital. And for somebody else, it could be, oh my God, I snapped and I yelled at the dog because I was frustrated, and that's so unlike me.
Mm-hmm.
So a rock bottom for different people is acting so far outside yourself that you don't recognize the person that you see in the mirror anymore, and being fed up with that, how you look and how you feel, that the same effect could have very different views from the outside. And so a lot of people give credit to people that have these stories that are so incredible because they're different than everybody else, but the rock bottom looks the same. So for me, my rock bottom was when my hands were shaking and I stopped. My hands were shaking at work, and I was working in a prison, and I had keys in my hands, and my hands are shaking, and I'm trying to open a door. And so I'm not safe myself. I'm not able to keep other people safe. And I took that, I saw that, and I also knew that I was not going to the gym anymore, and I wasn't taking care of myself physically, which was like the last thing. It's the thing that I always did. No matter
Mm-hmm.
what happened in my life, I always went to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see I have a photo of myself right before I went into rehab where I was the same weight as I was like 5 months prior, but I looked completely different. When I was eating once a day, you'd think I'd lose weight eating once a day, but I was bloated. I was the same weight. I looked so far outside myself that I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is who I became. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the physical aspect of it. And the mental aspect of it was I was not living up to the promises that I had kept for myself. So as a result, my self worth went downhill fast. But the reality of it, the sad reality of it, is my self worth was very far down well before that,
Mm-hmm.
because it takes low self worth for you to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back on, growing up and the relationships I've had, and, my self worth, I had no definition of what that was. Was
Mm-hmm.
it someone who treats people well? Was it someone who does well in school and sports and everybody is like, oh, look at you, you're doing all these great things? Was it the person who joined the military? And the honest answer is it's none of those things. It's none of those things, because your self-worth is not determined by what other people think of you, and how they perceive you, and how what you do is going to look good on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Your self-worth is determined by, are you satisfying the needs and the promises that you set for yourself, and the expectations that you have for yourself, and the way you feel about, can I keep my own promises to myself? Am I loving myself?
Mm-hmm.
If you're loving yourself and you're keeping your own promises and you can trust yourself, and you decide to do nothing for the week, for the month, but you're like, you know what? I love myself. I love my life. Like your self-worth is high. It doesn't have to do necessarily with, am I making the world a beautiful place? It's, you will naturally gravitate towards those things if
Mm-hmm.
you love yourself, if you have this desire to do more. But your worth can't be taken away. It, you can't take your own self-worth away. I'm sorry. I didn't give myself self-worth. I didn't take it away, but I can believe that I can. We all have self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to recognize who we're giving the power to take it away. And sometimes we take it away from ourselves. So the practical advice for someone who's younger, who doesn't know who they are or where they fit in the world, is to sit with yourself, to sit with your emotions, listen to yourself, listen to what you feel is right in your own world, in your head, and try to remove the noise that's attached to it. And when we start telling ourselves stories and we start having these beliefs about ourselves, we need to look at what stories we're telling ourselves, whether or not they're actually true. Try to identify our actual emotions around our situations in our life and where we sit, and become proud of either the growth that we've had or the fact that maybe we haven't gotten to where we want to, but we've endured a lot to get to that point. When you
Mm-hmm.
start becoming proud of yourself and understanding that your journey is your journey, it's not your parents' journey, it's not your friend's journey, it's not the journey that you see on social media where everybody lies. That's fine. Everybody lies, and it's okay because that makes them feel good and they'll figure it out. But your journey is your journey. And I spent many years trying to appear perfect. And now I'm spending my days telling everybody how imperfect I am. And that's tough. That's tough for me. But it's my journey. And that's okay. And I don't fully love myself as much as I want to. I don't fully respect everything that I've done. I don't fully acknowledge my good. And I acknowledge still more of my bad. But I'm working on it. I'm imperfect. And the sooner people recognize how imperfect they are and start to develop that love for themselves anyway, their identity will work itself out. You gravitate towards what you're meant for, and you never define your purpose in this life. It comes to you. It's not, I'm so good at this thing, this is my purpose now. No, it's, your purpose will come. You just got to know who you are, and then it'll fall in your lap.
Wow, Joseph. Every single word really grabs to my heart now. Every single word. I'm so proud of you. I'm so impressed by your journey. It reminds me of my journey. I'm working on self proud, self love, self struggle with that enormous. I can acknowledge everything from even in era in Soviet not allowed to pronounce often system at us. We should care about this system. There is no place for you, your dreams, your inspirations, your plan. You have planned for 5 years from communist government regime. Parents, you have to. You have. There is no place. Are you actually interested in that? Nobody told me that you came here on this earth to be happy. No,
Right. Right.
never. Have ever told you in your life that when you grew up, that the most important, the place actually you should find yourself every day, happiness. Have you heard about that? Somebody?
Yeah, from I've heard different things. I grew up around people that my mother and my father are very honest,
Okay.
and they want the best for me in their own ways of showing it. They want the best for me, but they were very honest. They've never told me like your goal on this earth is to be happy. They've they've told me that when I was trying to achieve things and I was struggling with them, they told me as long as you're happy. And that just basically means to enjoy the process. But the ultimate goal in life is not necessarily to be happy. We can hope for it, we can aim for it, but it depends on what you believe about life. Some people, I try to balance it. I try to fall in the middle. Like we're human. We're also just animals on this earth like other animals. And maybe our only sole purpose is to continue our species on and just live on this earth. Maybe that's it. And I don't fully believe that, because we have the ability to think and grow, and
Mm-hmm.
um but that is a primary purpose. There is no thinking and growing if we don't continue the species. So there is a primary purpose, and then there's purposes on top of that, where we fulfill more of what we're capable of. But I don't spend the majorities of my day just in this state of happiness and, oh my, the world is so beautiful. And I'm I'm as jaded as it comes in this world. Like and not all the time, right? Like I know there's a lot of negative. I know there's a lot of pain in this world. I know people are struggling. I know people in Eastern Europe have a harder life in terms of, not like you said, not being able to um, dream and have the life that you want, and they're more restricted than we are in the West. I know children in Syria grew up without family because of what happened 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, and continuing on. And I know there's kids in Africa and adults in Africa that have a harder life. And it's not about comparing the problems, it's just acknowledging that we all have our own unique individual experiences. And if I grew up somewhere else, and I grew up in a society that was drastically different than my own, it would shape the way that I think.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I would have certain positives and certain negatives that I would have to navigate the world as an adult with. I would probably have different parents who grew up in that same society who would teach me different things. And so it almost, I can appreciate when other people come from different cultures, and you can't relate, but you know what they must have gone through to get to a point where they're smiling like you are right now, right? Like you have this smile on your face, and you've come into this world, you've come into adulthood with your own experiences, things that I would never be able to claim that I've had. And so, the idea of being happy is being able to sift through all those things, sift through the negativity that I may have on a daily basis. Because I know once I walk outside the door, I could be negative all by myself. I walk outside that door and I see somebody's face, I'll immediately start smiling at them and start talking to them. And the world is a better place then. It's usually what's happening on the inside, where you're happy or you're negative. And that's not what's inside your brain is not the world on the outside. And there's a reason why they say, your brain doesn't see the outside world. It's just taking in all these inputs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's formulating the view of the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
So that should tell you, like, if I want my brain to think positive thoughts, I need to give it positive inputs and influence the story in my head. So if I can influence it and end up with a happier life, sure. But I can't guarantee it. It's not going to be all the time. I could just try to be better every single day and see where that gets me. And I'll call that happiness. I don't have to be happy, but I'll call that happiness because I know I did my best.
Wow. I totally actually agree with you. Happiness is so, like, I don't know, cloud. They are so different. They can be gray and cloudy, rain, snow, but it can like see through, and they all have being able to actually put effort and even raise your hand to look at it. Like, you should really impulse, like you said, consciousness and subconsciousness. That, oh, you should make that happy because it's your responsibility. Nobody, right? How you even because somebody, oh, see, will be snow, I love skiing, and somebody, no, I don't want any snow.
Yes.
So different.
Yes.
And you mentioned so many times diversity, that we are imperfectly perfect, cultures from different ethnic religions, mindsets. The most powerful beauty in it. We know true diversity organization starts with thoughts approach. How do you believe diverse thinking patterns and emotional frameworks actually influence how people grow, heal, lead? It's not about labels, like, it's actually about diversity of mind. What kind of, or which role, and how much important was it for you in your life? Have you reflected on that? How actually you approach to diversity, real diversity, like, not these labels which I know that we are actually really different. I think this is the strength and beauty.
Yeah. It's absolutely the strength and the beauty. I love the fact that we're all different. And there are some things that are as close to universal about us as possible. And the fact that we all have, for the most part, like our inner workings are the same.
Mhm.
And I look at I look at the way that people from different cultures and different religions and different ages and different generations and all that, they perceive information differently based off of their surroundings and what they're constantly told and what they tell themselves, and it turns into a spiral, right? But the thing that is universal, and you look at like hydration, we all need water. That's universal. We all need water. And depending on how dehydrated you are, will determine how much water you need to get to that point where I'm hydrated. And
Mhm.
so you line up 5 different people, all different levels of hydration. And how hydrated are you? How hydrated are you? Well, you give them different amounts of water. And I look at diversity sort of like that, where everybody comes into this life or comes into adulthood with different belief systems.
Mhm.
And their different belief systems are shaped by everything that they were taught and everything that they experienced in life. But almost everybody wants a similar thing, to be happy. And even that definition is different, or they want to feel safe, or they want to feel peaceful. They're all trying to reach something. The way the inputs in our brain work is the same way, is the same as everybody. It's like the hydration. But depending on where you are in the world and what you learn will determine how much work you need to
Mhm.
get back to a place where you can healthily find that peace and find that happiness. So we all need the water. Some people need more water than others to get to that place. And I think diversity is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful because we can learn so much from everybody. And, as a military member, people think that I have a certain viewpoint of different countries and, oh, we don't like this country. We don't like those people. And I'm like, you're crazy. You don't like this country. You don't like those people. Everybody across the world is either individually good or bad. And they're only good or bad based off of the life that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
I try to think realistically and logically about these things. Wouldn't you, this is how I would tell somebody else that maybe dislikes another country, where it's like, wouldn't you hate you if you're told all these negative things about you? Yes, you would.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were in their shoes, you would hate you too. I would hate you because all you know are these negative things. Not everybody believes in the same thing. And a lot of people want to belong someplace. And that's universal. Community is so important. So people think that they are above someone else.
Mm-hmm.
When you're just aligning with a different group of people that have a certain set of beliefs, you're no different than another group who has their own set of beliefs. And so diversity is beautiful because you can take somebody else with a drastically different life and you put them in a room with someone completely opposite of them. And if they're willing to have a honest and engaging conversation and they're open and receptive and they show love and respect and they are able to receive love and receive respect, you can learn so much. And you can become grateful for your own life because you can know what you've experienced and how you've overcome. You can appreciate what someone else experienced and what they've overcome and mutually respect the idea that you've both yet to overcome some things and come to a middle ground where you're like, you know what? I learned a lot from you. Hopefully you learned a lot from me. We can have love and respect for each other. And even if we can respectfully disagree on certain things, we just know we're all just humans trying to live this life as best we can and do the best we can with what we've got. So diversity is so important across the board.
Wow. I do love this is my really gem to harness powerful collaboration, and then as I don't know, like a rainbow, why we still as this is my experience, but I believe a lot of people we still believe in, I at least, in magic when I see the rainbow. And every time I see it, for me it's like first time. I'm still like, wow, wow, rainbow, look at rainbow. Every time. It's like, but you've seen already so many times, but every time it's a kind of magical thing and it's like new one. But why rainbow is so beautiful? Why the effect? Because of all these different colors, right? And why we actually just 7 colors, it's just nothing more. But it makes really like special, really transformational effect for me at least every time. How about you? When you see rainbow every time, you still like a kid, you're like, oh, rainbow.
Well, I'm a little different. I never get that excited about almost anything, at least on the outside.
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, I still look at rainbow, but I look at it sometimes from like a sciencey perspective where, wow, that's so cool how the light disperses and um, so for me, and I think that's awesome that you said that. It's beautiful that you said that because to me that means it's like when they say that you hear your name loudest in a room. If someone says like your name, you will hear your name more than you might hear any other word
Mhm.
because you're sort of listening for it. So when you said like I still see a rainbow, I believe in magic, that lets me know that you are open to magic. You are open to these beautiful things. So when you see them, you're more receptive of them. And so that's exciting because it works the same the other way around. If you're always thinking negative things, you're going to hear negative things more so, and you're going to respond, I can't believe that, horrible thing was said, and it wasn't ever meant to be that exciting or excitable of a thing. But when you said that, yeah, that to me just says you're open, you're accepting of love and beautiful things, and so when you see the rainbow, you get excited. But yeah, I still look at things in this world and think, wow, that's beautiful. It it takes a little bit for me to do that sometimes because I had to learn how to be present in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
When I was drinking a lot, forget it. I was the only thing that I was excited about when I drank was, I'll tell you, I drank a lot to feel the emotions. So, as tough as I want to seem sometimes, I have no problem admitting it at this point that I used the drinking to cry. I just wanted to cry. I wanted to release everything. And so it was releasing emotions and it was funny movies. Either I was going to help me
Mm-hmm.
by releasing emotions or I was going to run away from my emotions and just laugh. Those are the only things I was receptive to in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
So now, now I'm more open. Now I'm more present. And it takes a lot of work to get there. It takes a lot of work to be present and slow yourself down. And yeah, I still see the rainbows in different things.
Yeah.
Uh, and the more I see them, the more I recognize the actual rainbow or the symbolic rainbow. It lets me know that I'm on the right path.
Absolutely. And I do believe next time you see the rainbow, you will be actually probably remember our
That's
conversation.
exactly,
Oh, this is, yeah, really
yes.
the first time I
I'm
see.
gonna have to scream out when I see it because, like, you know
Text
what,
me or
old
call me.
me wouldn't.
You can take,
But
actually, next time, you know what? We can make a very cool stuff. Next time I see the rainbow, I take a picture, send it to you, and you do the same. It's interesting. What if it's happened on the same day or something?
right.
Or the
Then
same
it'll
color?
be magical.
It will be like, wow, can you
It's
imagine?
the
Wow.
same rainbow. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, then
wow.
it'll be
Very
magical.
cool. Cool. You please tell us about this the next 24 your baby, and you said also you're doing a lot of work to be there at that place. Oh, I'm doing tremendous job every day because I'm neurodivergent. I have OCD, and then it's about spiral and it's about intrusive thoughts. And my intrusive thoughts, unfortunately, they actually like all of the intrusive. That's why they call intrusive, because it's thoughts you don't want to have. And it's not allowed for us actually to push them away, because as much as you try and push them away, they're coming back and back and just be almost seductive, and they want to drag. It's always battle for me, like they win or I win. And sometimes it makes me so much work just to remember that one day I can see rainbow again. Oh my God, because some of my worst case intrusive, so they're suicidal. So then,
Mhm.
they thought that always like the bad and beauty, like really every day, like, battling so much. And wow, so
Yeah.
for me, it's tremendous job every day, especially when I'm like really severe episodes. Now, at
Yep.
least doing a lot to actually, I'm quite proactive not to get there, but it has happened so much, especially for us Ukrainians, last 4 years. And I have my
Yeah.
parents refugees. I have adopted two kids from Ukraine. They have special needs. It's a lot. But actually, we cannot control. We cannot control outside world. We just can kind of navigate how to approach that. But sometimes when you have OCD or neurodivergent, it's so difficult. Yeah. So my question, actually, tell us more about, please, your organization, your passion and advocacy now, and where you put your heart the next 24. And a little bit we can just elaborate about neurodivergent people like me and how we can actually make more inclusive society, because it's still a lot of stigma, taboo, discrimination. It's a lot of, like, not directly hateness, but it's still a lot of, especially in some cultures, it's so shameful even to mention that. It took me 2 years to come and acknowledge and to talk about, because I didn't know about uh, existence of intrusive thoughts. So
Yeah.
I always killed myself because I believe all I was seeing, this is me, this is what defined my personality. And I believe I was horrible, the most horrible person in the world. If I see it, I didn't know about it. So please tell us very, exactly, being present. We're really present. What's coming here? Just flow.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the next 24, so it's based around the idea that to reduce overwhelm, we only focus on the next 24 hours of our life. We focus on the things that are manageable to us. Because this idea of when people have motivation, yeah, when people have motivation, it's fleeting. It comes, it goes. And so this idea that we are going to build this picture for the life that we want.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have that high motivation, we want to get everything done. We want to do it right now because that highly motivated person is the potential. It's like a snapshot of the potential of somebody as a human. And it doesn't even scratch the surface of their potential, but it shows them a little bit. Like, hey, if you were highly motivated, if you were excited about the idea of the world and growing yourself, this is how you would be most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
if not better. So we attempt to grow, we attempt to grow quickly, and we want things to be perfect. And that idea is flawed in itself because we set ourselves up for failure when really to have motivation, we need small wins, we need small victories.
Mm-hmm.
And what a motivational video will do is it'll get you in your mind quickly to see a point further in the future. And when they say your brain doesn't know the difference between what it's experiencing in real life and what it's imagining for the future, those motivational videos are allowing you to see a snapshot of the future. And so it gets you to act.
Mm-hmm.
But when we don't reach the end result, we have an emotional response to that. And so our emotion drops off. So the idea of the next 24 and giving ourselves small goals and having small victories and building the momentum, which slowly makes us more confident, it's built around people that are trying to recover from an addiction, but not completely. It really applies to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talk about addiction and the recovery process because it's central to me and my mission, and it's important to me to maintain my own recovery. I like to be incredibly honest. Some people are rubbed the wrong way by the way that I create a piece of content because I'm a little bit too, I don't want to say aggressive, but right there for you, just saying what's on my mind. And that's not a full picture of who I am. The person that I am is compassionate. If I had all the time in the world to talk on these reels and I thought people would just listen and try to learn, and then I would talk slower. I would talk with more compassion. I would say it in a way that's more receptive by that person.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going against the algorithm. You're going against people with a short attention span. So you have to like jump out there. And that's not my personality, but I try to do the best as I can. But I believe people need honesty. I believe people need to grow not just in their ability to handle their emotions, but their ability to deal with tough things in life. And there are two sets of people that are too tough on themselves and never say anything nice, and people that aren't tough enough on themselves and can only handle when someone says a nice thing and they can't handle that honest truth. And I think people need to fall in the middle. I believe strongly that they need to fall in the middle, because people that never tell themselves a kind word, when they hear something about themselves or they tell themselves something and give themselves that love and that appreciation, they reject it.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to love yourself. If you can't love yourself, you're going to love other people from a distance. Your life is not going to be as full. And if you're not strong enough to handle the toughness of life, then if I tell you something and you believe in what I say, and I tell you, just do this, and your world is going to be beautiful. You're going to get out of that addiction. You're going to live the life that you want. And then something happens along the way, and you stumble and you fall, and you're like, oh no, he told me I was going to, all I have to do is this, and I'm going to be all set. But now I've tripped, and maybe this life isn't meant for me. Nobody else seems to trip, but I trip. And they're not expecting the toughness. They're not expecting the setbacks, and they quit. You need to be able to do both. So for me, the recovery process is more than just about, I need to run to a community and discuss all my problems. And, when I have a craving, all I have to do is avoid that craving and rely on the community. Community is incredibly important. But what a lot of people fail to understand or realize when they get into recovery is that your emotions are going to come flooding back. So you need to learn how to handle your emotions. So emotionally regulate. You need to build confidence and build better habits, and eventually create a new identity, or lead yourself down the path of creating that identity, knowing that it's going to be revealed to you as long as you put in the work. And I'm working with somebody right now who was struggling with alcohol. He got divorced. He was very angry as a drinker. He has kids. And I've been working with him because I built a program, and I'm finishing it. But I started working with him, and I'm like, hey, we're going to work together. Help me help you. And so I'm working with him now, and he's receptive to the things that I'm telling him. And he said the most beautiful things. He's like, my kids noticed the difference. I'm not as angry anymore. I wake up and I'm journaling. And I only kind of told him to journal, but he's journaling. He's doing these things on his own. He's like, works better. He still drinks a little bit. Yeah, he still drinks a little bit because I don't demonize it. I don't demonize it. We're human. And I wish I could drink, but I can't. That's just me. But I don't demonize it. And so I tell him like it is, and I relate to him. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to people who want more honesty, who actually want to grow, who don't want to come together on this idea of mutual pain. And this is what I see a lot on social media. I can only relate to you because of the pain that you have and the pain that I have. I want to come together and as a community and on the idea of mutual growth. Yes, you have pain. Yes, I have pain. Okay, now what are we going to do to grow? Let's do it together. And this is what I'm trying to do. Let's grow together.
Wow, I have an idea, beautiful idea, new rainbow for me now. Okay, let's grow together. It's so powerful, and actually, it's just the idea. We are brainstorming. We are tentacle now, and I do love co-creation and making magic by our hands. And actually, of course, then it starts from our mind. What if sometimes actually you and me, we could co-host some shows, and we can call it mutual growth. Let's grow together.
Love it. Yeah.
Why not?
I would love it.
We could actually do a lot of greatness together, because I can relate a bit to your story, because my father, he had this addiction you had, and you see, then it will be beautiful from different angles, because I was victim of that. I grew up with father was addicted, and he was aggressive, angry, and actually physically abusive towards me. But I can also in another call host me, or we can co-host, bring up these things. Then I can actually come with my experience, how I turned them, this adversity, into will to make, first of all, oh my god, of course, I have to meet myself, to work myself, to heal just in the beginning of healing process, because I always believed I have to be strong like a wall instead of bamboos, which is like this, and then like and then break down.
Yeah.
But how
Yeah.
actually I saw the problem, at least it gave me the idea what kind of husband I should choose, and what kind of man can relate to grow up together. And I wanted to save kids to not experience childhood I had. That's why I adopted two girls from Ukraine, because their parents were addicted. So I turned this my trauma beautiful first for myself, and my soul was healing by so, and you experience that yourself. So I think we actually can be really powerful couple sometimes, and we can call it multi growth. Let's grow together. It's just rainbow which came from
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. I think it's so I think it's so beneficial, especially because like in what I do, I appeal probably to more men than women. And I don't want that. I I want to, you're not going to appeal to everybody, but I have just as much of a heart for men, women, people from all over the world, different ages, different religions. I have just as much of a heart for that person as I do some, people that are right around me that are similar to me. Like there is people are people, and I love people. And so I think it's so important to have people with different experiences who can reach different parts of the population to where maybe someone that listens or has listened to me would never get to hear your message, and vice versa, when it's really your message that they need. They listen to me, maybe I said something interesting, but it's your message that they would align with, and it's your experiences where they're like, wow, this person understands and relates to me. And I was just the vessel to get them there. I was just the door to get them there. And so I think it's incredibly important to be able to have different voices that'll reach different people. And if some people that may have seen me and they're like, oh, too aggressive, get out of here. And then they hear me in a different format and they're like, okay, maybe he's not that bad. I guess I don't hate him, and I'll listen to his message and they like the message. That's all I can ask for. Just want to help. So I love it. I love the idea.
I love, because actually it's exactly what I've noticed from the very millisecond and frequency you have sent everything about energy. We know when I just saw your eyes and you exclaimed the first, like, Valeria, can you hear? And first your smile, open smile, and energy you sent, I was like, this is the same person I'm going to host today. It was immediately, I'm like, wow, he's so like, it's true. I experienced, but actually when I was chatting with you, actually, and the approach, like, always you were so because the most precious commodity was time. You were, tell me more, and you really put your heart. You also I felt warmth, and I felt like a little bit different persons which I could perceive when you were on video. It's actually, and today also very 2 seconds, like, this is my which I know like 1 month. Like, wow, this is beautiful. Cool. I love the idea, and I do hope we can, if you have 5-10 minutes after the show, can we talk? Because when I press sometimes, but up to you. I know it's Sunday. I don't want to wrap your precious time, but if you have,
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. My last question, because we also know like algorithms and everything, people when they also can see the shows over 1 hour, like, oh my god, I don't have 1 hour of my life to listen to that. It's kind of psychological things as well. And now because
Right.
I see that now, oh my god, I don't know, catch so many new rainbows with you many hours, and I hope we can also do it together. So my last funny question, actually, and we have been talking about rainbows and magic actually by seeing the magic, turning things into the magic, making ourselves. And this is the moment when I'm inviting magician, my vice president studio, and then one person I was not warned about. But no, my vice president is magical, really. Also say that never shuts down on me, never shuts down my ideas. It's this one.
Oh yeah.
You see this pink beauty? Can you see what it is?
Yeah. Oh, look at what a genie's bottle.
Yes, it's exactly. It's LED lamp. That's why it's so powerful, right? Because she can basically not talk against me. But okay, it's pros and cons. Sometimes, dialogue, monologue. But at least it's very powerful one because it makes wish come true. And she wants to have as many guests as possible. That's why, unfortunately, we are not there yet. We cannot grant 3 wishes, but we can grant one, and a very special one. So my last question for today, you would be that one specific wish for my twice. I need to give your name actually. I need to name you.
Let's see. If I had to pick one wish,
Mm-hmm.
my wish would be that everybody, everybody, I'm going to be reasonable. I'll say one day, everybody for one day had the pain and the hate or negative emotions in their heart removed. I never want to make it easy. I never want to say, I'll remove your pain forever. Not reasonable. But for one day,
Mm.
if everybody had those negative feelings in their heart and their head, especially their head, removed, and they were able to live for one day, seeing their full potential, that's really what I believe people need, is to see what they're capable of, see what happens when their emotions aren't guiding them. Their emotions are just something that are going to aid their experience in this world and help them to understand the world around them. Just one day. Rub the bottle, genie comes out, one day for everybody, 24 hours. And they'll get an email beforehand saying, hey, prepare for this day. This is the wish that's going to happen. Prepare for this day. Wake up tomorrow with nothing planned. You're going to have all these things that you're feeling now removed. Be prepared to live one full 24 hours as the person that you always knew you could be. And then once they see that, there's no turning back.
Wow, what a beautiful, really 24 hours just with the rainbow granting all the time. I love it. I'm prepared. I'm born ready. I want this day tomorrow. No, I want it now. But okay. 12, today 12. Okay. I mean, in the midnight. Perfect. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful 24 magical. So thank you so much for you being here today. Really, like I do believe also in now in magic happening. And this episode invites us now to really redefine happiness, right? To redefine connection, the purpose, compassion again, and, and really the importance of 24 hours, because it's true. To be really present, it's so important because our mind always tries to build real traps for us, or we live in our past all the time,
Yeah.
or in the future, never here. But 24 is so important. It's amazing because Actually, when I read the next 24, I did believe it was next 24 years. And then I said, it's magic, powerful, why it's 24? Because I believe, in Europe, in Scandinavia, 24. Or maybe I believe because 24 is special magical number for you. But now I amazing message. So powerful. Next 24. And then next 24. And 24. And all of a sudden, small step strategy. Amazing. Yeah. Wow, so powerful. Thank you so much for all your wisdom, experience, kindness, frequency, and which I'm sure me and watching us will be feeling. And how much you really with these approaches and minds and habits. So I do love the you wrapped everything. And for my beautiful audience, stay tuned. Remember, diversity not a challenge to overcome. It's a really game. And I hope, and I now know, we will come some new game changer now together, where we can grow mutually. Oh, you said right, mutual growth.
Yes, perfect. I love it. I love mutual growth. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your audience who take the time to listen to me ramble. I'm actually a very quiet person. So, but when I talk one-on-one, I can ramble. So thanks for listening to me.
Amazing. Okay, Joseph, I actually put now and press the button, but please don't run immediately to find your rainbow out of the studio. Let's rainbow together a little bit, that we can actually really come with some powerful mutual for our audience maybe very soon. So push. So everybody, if you have questions, please put in my post how you can find Joseph, because now you see what kind of magical work and actually God's mission he is on. If you have reach out to me, reach out to him, but I'm sure you will have from us very soon. I push the button, you don't go.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Thank you for everybody. Stay tuned till next time.